Hello everyone, and thanks for stopping by my channel. I am Serge T. In this video I'll be talking about Monday Night Raw for the month of July 8, 2024. And it's coming at us from Ottawa, Ontario, and CM Punk opens the show. He congratulates one of his greatest rivals, John Cena, and wishes him the best on his retirement in hopes that they can go at it one last time. And I think that we all would like to see that. Maybe he can be Cena's last opponent at WrestleMania. Let's see. Who knows, right? And he brings up Drew and shows the backstage altercation that got him suspended. Drew should have known better than to pick a fight with CM Punk. His actions got consequences and Punk made him pay for it. He cost McIntyre his championships or championship opportunities and even got himself fined $25,000. As Punk tells McAfee, money well spent. He even asked Pierce to lift Drew's suspension because he wants Drew in a match. Anything just to get out here so he can do that. But Rollins comes out, leading the crowd in singing his theme. Why? This ain't the time for that, Seth. You got screwed out of your championship opportunity. You should have your game face on and be serious. Seth calls Punk back into the ring because at this point, Punk is seated crisscross applesauce on the announce desk. He does step back into the ring and reminds him to watch his tone and not disrespect him, as in the past he gave him a pass when he disrespected him previously. They get into it. Families are brought up. They're brought into it. Even Punk mentions how that bracelet means everything to him, even if it is 15-cent retail because it bears his wife and dog's names. He is apologetic to Rollins. He didn't purposely mean to do what he did at Money in the Bank. That is, cost him the world title. I'm sorry. I apologize, says Punk. Sincere, right? But he tells Rollins but says he shouldn't apologize to him. He is called out by Rollins, saying how everything is not about Punk. I say there is still some tension and heat between them, and is bitter that Punk cost him that world title. And he is waiting on that day that he can get him in the ring and break his arm and put him back on the shelf. Actions have consequences, says Rollins, throwing Punk's words back in his face. I don't understand the people that want to say that Punk is the heel in this. Y'all forgot what started this whole thing? Was it the Royal Rumble? Future Shock DDT gave Punk that arm injury. He's just giving, McIntyre back what he gave to him. He's going to make his life a living hell. He even said that. I believe it was on the Raw after, I think it was after Royal Rumble or shortly after, but he said that, and he is making his life a living hell. People are honestly forgetting that McIntyre has been presenting himself as the heel in this. Just because we see what Punk did at Monday Night Raw, that doesn't mean that he is a heel. He's just getting back at McIntyre for what he did to him. And then he has another situation with Rollins. No fault of his own. He didn't mean to do that, but it happened. Hey. But he did say some things that kind of call into question whether or not he was sincere in his apology. But we'll see what happens. I mean, in the meantime, maybe he's going to be getting Rollins in the ring when he comes back. I remember how long this suspension is of McIntyre, but it might be short-lived as we go on in this review of mine. Now, Pierce is in his office and apologizes to Dom for not returning his calls. It's Dom, and he doesn't want to tag with Liv against Ray and Zelina. He doesn't have a choice, and Liv talks to him, and they better win. That's what Dom told Liv. You'll go with it. We better win. And then the leader of the Yeet movement is in one-on-one action with Master Gable. After a series of attempted hip tosses as the match starts, Jay delivers and tosses Gable outside, but as Jay looks to hit a suicide dive, Gable catches him and delivers an overhead suplex. But inside, they trade offense and battle for control. Gable does get Jay prone on the mat and delivers a flying headbutt. And again, it ends up on the outside, and Jay hits the crossbody on the inside and gets a near fall on Gable. Great match, very competitive, and a lot of fun. But we see that the ring dims, and the ominous sounds of the Wyatt Six cause a distraction that costs Gable the match as he is speared by Jay for a 1, 2, 3. Abby the Witch, or Sister Abigail, appears and Gable backpedals and runs out of there through the crowd. And another box is presented to the commentators. Very good match and a very good opening segment for the Wyatt Six. We keep seeing Abby the Witch, Sister Abigail pop up. She's the only one that has, but we have seen some ominous dark people, dark presences in the, if that's a word, in the crowd there. And see what happens. I just don't know what Gable has to do with the Wyatt Six, but I'm very confident that the creative and Triple H will explain what his connection is to them, if there is one. Maybe it's just the fact that he's in the crosshairs of the Wyatt Six. He just happens to be there every time they come out. Maybe. Now, Sheamus states that's weird. I mean, he's looking on with Jackie Redmond, and they can't figure out what the heck they just saw. And Jackie Redmond has him backstage for an interview, and Sheamus celebrates his 15 years in the WWE, and congratulations are in order. I remember when Sheamus debuted and how he had a feud, opening feud. His first feud was with Triple H, and that was an amazing way to introduce him to the WWE audience, and I think that's the reason why we've all grown to love him, and we've all grown to be a big fans, because from the moment he stepped foot in the ring, he was a guy that was looking for a fight. You know, that's his motto, right? Always looking for a fight. Speaking of that, Bronson Reed comes in and says he is the future and Sheamus is stuck in the past. Sheamus wants a fight, but Reed says anytime, not tonight, because he wants Sheamus to witness what he does to his mate Pete Dunne tonight. And up next is their match, and he is one half of the New Catch Republic, that is Pete Dunne, and the other half, Tyler Bate, will be out of action for a bit due to being injured in a tag team match last week in NXT. But Dunne surprisingly takes it to Reed easily, taking him out, knocking him to the outside, and delivering some hit-and-run moves, and finishing up with a moonsault, dropping Reed. But back from the break on the inside, and Reed decleats Dunne with a clothesline, but Dunne comes back and hits with a running knee for a near fall. A near fall by Reed as he delivers a sit-out powerbomb, showing his power in utilizing his size. He goes for a tsunami, but a step-up enziguri stops Reed, but as he is in an armbar of sorts, Dunne had him in some sort of a key lock or something on the top rope there, top turnbuckle, but Reed tosses him down, just throws him down, and it leaves an opening to finally deliver the tsunami and gets the pin and the win. I think that Michael Cole did a very good job at saying tsunami like Wade Barrett used to do. And next up is Sheamus. He comes out, and will he give the Celtic Warrior what he wants? I'm talking about Reed. I sure hope so. That match will be a banger, because they get into it, and both Dunne and Sheamus deliver some punishment, and it's topped off by a bro kick that sends Reed to the outside. But as Sheamus goes to celebrate with Dunne, he is brushed off and shoved away. And there is a story here, as Sheamus did leave the Brawling Brutes. You gotta remember those things. You gotta remember those little details. That's the reason why we see something like this happening. What does Pete Dunne, what reason does he have to be kind of bitter towards Sheamus? It was brought up. And it's because Sheamus pretty much left him to do whatever he wants to do. I don't know if it was because he was in his pursuit of the Intercontinental title and like that. I mean, where's Ridge Holland now? He's on NXT now. So I think it caused a lot of just breaking up and them going their separate ways. That was like the start of it, right? And backstage, Rollins is talking to Priest, and he says it's better to be lucky than good, as he tells Priest that he was good and that Rollins will keep his promise, like Priest did his. Priest's promise was that he was going to, you know, leave the Judgment Day. He agreed to that when Seth brought that up, right? And he did keep Judgment Day back, and he will not challenge him while he is champ. But he needs to be better for SummerSlam, and hell, even Priest said, forget about their gentleman's agreement. Because when he is done with Gunther, if he wants another shot, name the place and they shake on it. Now, Sammy's in the ring and is proud to be in the ring as champion in the nation's capital, Ottawa. And no longer is the underdog, he is the champion. Breaker made the mistake of thinking that Zayn is the underdog. And one thing is for sure, that it is one thing to knock him down, but it's another thing to keep him down. Boy, ain't that the truth. But Breaker comes out and is looking to get something off his chest, I'm sure. What are you here for, Braun? Says Sammy. You looking for a fight? Looking for a rematch? You gonna say something? Or just stare all night? Says Sammy. And he gives him the mic, albeit with a little force, into his chest and slams it in there. Braun says, I am out here to look the only man in the eyes who can say that he beat me. Because, as he put it, the only man in the locker room that can claim that. He didn't think he was going to be him, but he knows how it goes. No reason to get a rematch. Walks away. I don't know why Sammy didn't anticipate this, but he just spins around, does his Braun, and spears him. Out of what they said, you know how they say he got speared out of his boots? Well, he got speared out of one of his shoes for real. And then they end up getting separated by the officials. Now, Breaker then runs at Zayn at full bore. He wants to do that thing that he does, right? But he gets taken. But then, when he wants to take down Sammy again, but Dragunov runs at Braun as he lets Dragunov know that he ain't scared. Ilya is seen in the trainer's room with Sammy while doctors tend to the IC champ, and Dragunov wants Braun, and he is told by Pierce that he wants him. Well, he gets him tonight, and the match is made official. Now, Carlito and the World Tag Team Champions Finn and JD are in 6-man tag team action. There's quite a number of 6-man tag matches tonight. And they go against the Awesome Truth, who are jumped by the Judgment Day and interrupt their rap, which I am thankful for. Truth is great, entertaining, love it when he raps, but The Miz is cringe. He tries too hard, and I don't want to hear him rap. But I guess the Judgment Day forgot about that big son of a bitch. I love it that Pat McAfee's back, as he said that. When Cole said that in recent weeks, big SOB. This doesn't have the same impact as when you say big son of a bitch. That's not a bad word. That's not something that they should, abbreviate, even though Braun had a nice looking shirt that said big SOB. And like I said, big son of a bitch in Braun Strowman, and he runs them out of the ring. And inside we see Truth pay homage to his childhood hero, John Cena, with a 5-knuckle shuffle and attitude adjustment on Carlito. It gets only a near fall because it's broken up by Baszler. We then see this as this match goes, as Strowman and Truth form a train and sidecar combo and outside and run over the Judgment Day, and Strowman chases down McDonough because they missed him on that train, and he chases him through the crowd. Now, Truth is too preoccupied with their shenanigans and is drop kicked by Baszler and hit with a coup de grace, and the Judgment Day get the victory. Good match, fun match, a lot of silliness, a lot of craziness going on, and that's what you expect from multi-man matches, and it was okay. It got the job done, and the Judgment Day continue their little skirmishes with Awesome Truth and Strowman. Strowman, a guy who they still have yet to get rid of, and that was the walking orders, wasn't it, of Damian Priest in previous weeks? Now, Adam appears the scene with Punk and will arrange a meeting with Drew to see where he is at mentally. Punk is asked by Pierce to stay home so no more altercations will arise. Punk is cool with that. He will stay home and continue to work on getting cleared. Now, Dom and Liv are warming up, and the Judgment Day catch him, and well, it looks bad, but Dom didn't seem to mind Liv stretching out that hamstring. And then Priest has something to say, but lets Finn know that he will let Dom find out for himself. And it has something to do later on in the main event. We'll see. And I like when people were talking about Carlito having a classic line about it looked hard to me or something like that when it came to, because she was stretching him his leg up here and stuff, and even McAfee got into it. It was hilarious. I'll talk about that, about the McAfee part later on. Now the next chapter in the Wyatt 6 chapter is played out on another VHS tape. We see Bo Dallas staring intently. An anonymous voice asks him, "Tell me more about your family." "My family," says Bo. "I took those that no one wanted, the discarded, the forgotten. I gave them a purpose." We then hear it repeat ominously. "They're so happy that you remembered them, because being the glutton for punishment doesn't make abandoning them hurt any less. Forsaken, alone, begging for mercy as the buzzards circle. There's been loss, too much for grief is the price we pay, I should say." And we see Rowan's face flash in and out as we also see Ramblin' Rabbit, Huskus the Pig, Joe Gacy, and even Mercy the Buzzard earlier. "For love," says Bo, as we see Abby the Witch or Sister Abigail. "For now we must set the captives free, so they need no master. Do you think at the same time we see Uncle Howdy's image seen ever so slightly merging with Bo's as he talks. "Do you think we are sick?" "Yes, I do," says Uncle Howdy. "Then sick," says Bo, "is what we'll be." Guess that's what it means when they change that, kind of switch that from the Wyatt SIX to SICKS. And the thing about it is that there is a hint that for the meantime, we've been seeing those guys in their masks. And he's talking about the ones who are portraying, Ramblin' Rabbit and Mercy the Buzzard and Sister Abigail and Huskus the Pig. You look at those individuals. Nikki Cross, Dexter Loomis, Joe Gacy, and Eric Rowan. They were all on the verge of being released, or were released, or were just forgotten. And in these words that he's saying, that's what's happened. I really am sick and tired of people saying that should we care about a bunch of jobbers and mid-carders? Do you understand what these people have done in this industry? Yes, they have been slighted. They have been booked shitty. But the thing about it is that Nikki Cross, when you give her a platform and when you let her go, she is someone who can go in that ring. I believe it was a last woman standing match that she had with Asuka that's when she had that dominant run as the NXT Women's Champion. And they were on a pallet. And the only reason why Asuka won that match, I'm pretty sure I'm remembering the right match, is that she was they were both on the pallet, and then Asuka just hopped off the pallet and she stood up. That's the only reason why she made the 10 count. She really put her and pushed her to her limit. Did Nikki Cross. And then Eric Rowan speaks for himself, OG of the Wyatt family, former tag team champion, especially with his fallen brother there, Luke Harper, right? Brody Lee. He's a dominant guy. Joe Gacy had his own, his own faction in NXT. A guy who's proven, he's a proven, leader. He's a proven guy that can be in a faction and be able to thrive. He's a growing guy. A growing, like his prospects are rising. He's a guy that can really, come into his own. And then you got Dexter Lumis. Goes without saying. His psychotic stalker type character and all that stuff fits well with this faction. We got to give them a shot and see where they can go from here. Y'all want to just say what you say, and it's like you don't even give these guys a chance. It's just like, this isn't the internet, people, where you can get something, you want something now, you type it in and it pops right in front of you, you got it. You can't do that with storytelling. It's got to be built up, and they're doing a great job, a fine job. Someone commented on one of my past videos, said, they better go somewhere else, they better go somewhere with this. And I'm like, yes, they will. Yes, they will. And you will see what happens later on. And you know that something's going to be popping off pretty soon. Now, Gable stops Pierce in the hallway. Adam Pierce is busy and accuses him of ignoring him. Well, his office is right here, says Pierce. But Gable points out about the tape. He feels the Wyatt Six are talking about him. He is intelligent and knows that he knows this. No one else seems to know it. That's what he says. But he asks about security, and he's assured that security is doubled. There supposedly is an investigation, according to Pierce. There's an investigation about it. And as Pierce opens his door, this is what I'm talking about. Inside, waiting is Bo Dallas. Is he going to be Bo Dallas? Is he going to be Taylor Rotunda? Or is he going to morph and be Uncle Howdy? And he's not going to be Bo Dallas anymore. You saw that little thing where he's starting to merge into him. Every time you see him talking, every other second or so, he's smiling sadistically, looking like his brother Bray. Like it's almost like he's channeling his brother Bray as well. You know what I mean? But it's a very good third week. These videotapes are getting more and more creepy, more and more ominous. You're starting to see stuff revealed. And for those of you who are saying that this is taking too long, well, I say that it's going along finely. It's doing what it needs to do. It's in the pot, and it's coming to a boil. It's not there yet, but just letting it cook. Like people like to say that Triple H is cooking. People want to say that. That's what's happening. You can't speed up the damn cooking process. You got to let it simmer. And then eventually it's going to boil, and it's going to cook, and it's going to be ready. Those of you who are being impatient, how long have you been watching wrestling? Honestly, good storylines are not rushed. I come of a generation where they would go with something just like how long they were doing with the Bloodline the first time. They're doing it again with the Bloodline. They're doing another build-up to probably the eventual return of Roman Reigns. Now, Damage Control looks to take back what they lost, and that is control. They are targeting Lyra Valkyria and Kaden and Katana, whom they will meet in 6-women tag team action later. Now, Ilya Dragunov and Braun Breaker look to renew their storied rivalry that dates back to their NXT days. Breaker sets the tone and physically dominates Dragunov, ending his initial offense with a gorilla press power slam. Intimidating is Breaker. And as Raw comes back from break, ain't no different, as Breaker still has control and delivers a bone-rattling spine buster. As Ilya was actually fighting back, kicking back and all that stuff, but that wasn't enough. Ilya fights back with some headbutts. Here we go. And a chop, and both men trade shots, and Dragunov connects with an enziguri and takes control as he delivers a mad running knee. Dragunov slips out of Breaker in the corner and delivers a power bomb, setting up Braun. And delivering a senton from the top turnbuckle. Looked like he was channeling Montez Ford at the height that he, got on that. Maybe he traded information with Montez Ford. Maybe Montez Ford showed him, hey, how he can get that high. And damn good match, and that only gets a near fall, the senton, and looks to come out of the corner and deliver perhaps a torpedo Moscow. But Breaker explodes out of the corner himself and takes out Dragunov. back and forth as these two men are giving as much as they are taking. And man, Ilya stopped Braun's attempted Frankensteiner in the ring. And the spear on the outside, and Dragunov is seen bleeding on his shin. I don't know how that happened, but it was on the shin area on the left of his left leg. He signals for Torpedo Moscow and is met with an announcer's chair, one of those soft, cushy chairs out there. It still can do some damage. And then that drew the DQ. And then Sammy comes out to come to the aid of Dragunov. He's got the kinesio tape on his, wrist there. I mean, not wrist, but on his rib area there and stuff. Because he took that spear earlier. But it's taken out by Breaker, and Dragunov gets back in it, but he dispatches of him as well. So Braun Breaker is proven that out of the three men, the only three men that pinned Gunther, he's the man that's left standing. I'm wondering in the future if we're going to see him and him and Gunther go at it again. Now we see Damian Priest backstage, and he says, "What champ hasn't had controversy?" We see Logan Paul's image pop up. We see Io Sky's image pop up, and each time he says, "No, not them," because we know how they operate. They got their people helping. You see when he says Logan Paul, not him. You see that goofball in the every time he's at a ringside, gives him his brass knuckles, right? And then Io, same thing. Always her girls helping her out. He is focused on Gunther, the reigning King of the Ring. He intends to walk in and out of SummerSlam as the World Heavyweight Champion. He will say that to Gunther's face and invites him to his show next week. And next week on Raw, and when he's done, he can join everyone else and rise for Campeon Damian Priest. Very good promo there. Very good vignette. Not a vignette because it was live actually when he was saying that stuff, but he's very confident. And I don't know what people think. I'm thinking I'm going to hold out to just see what we see between those two. They don't look like a good match, but then at the same time, it might be a banger of a match. I know some people are tired of that. People are saying that ad nauseum, but I think that this would be a match that would qualify as a banger. So we just got to wait and see, like I always say. And Pat McAfee is hilarious with his catastrator. What is that thing whatever he calls that thing that, he draws some lines and he goes over the stretching session between Liv and Dom, insinuating that the only movement on Dom was in his lower extremities and not necessarily his hamstring. I'm like, holy hell, man. He is fucking gold, man. He's hilarious. I love Pat McAfee. Damage Control in 6 women tag team action against Lyra, Kaden, and Katana. Now, Karrion Kross, before we go to that match, Karrion Kross is backstage and speaks. And Legends of the Old Guard will be the death of this place if kept unchecked. Behold the New Day. Pretty much saying that's the example right there. And he talks about how they smile and do all their antics and goofy stuff and all that. But they will make way for the New Guard, and even John Cena knew his time was up. Woods beat Kross. He gave him some props, did Karrion Kross, but Kofi couldn't. And he invites Woods to join him and be the man that he could be. And if he stays with Kofi, Kross is going to have to hospitalize Xavier Woods just like Kofi. The New Day is dead. Woods, well, he's just the last to realize this. So saith the final testament. He showed Kofi. They showed, Big E. And when is he going to realize, right? When he's going to realize that the New Day is dead? Now on to the 6-woman tag team match. As we see Damage Control in the ring awaiting their opponents. And that Damage Control actually said earlier that they were going to dance all over Chance and Carter because that's what they do. They are the life of the party. They even had those things out there with them, those, what do you call it? Guns, and it shoots off stuff and things like that, whatever, And And then they said they're going to clip the wings of my favorite Lyra Valkyria. I'm like, how dare they? That's my girl, man. Like, don't be threatening that. And you know what she can do. You know what she can do in that ring. So I don't think it's going to be that easy to clip the wings of the lovely Lyra Valkyria. And Lyra and her girls are in tune and in unison as they deliver amazing tandem offense. Really great. And end up sending Damage Control to the outside. But as Raw comes back from picture-in-picture, Damage Control are in control. No pun intended. But Lyra takes back control and delivers all kinds of kicks and offense, and Damage Control are triple suplexed in the ring. And a kickstand lands, but Io drop kicks Chance, and she falls over and breaks up the count inadvertently. Drop kicks her, and then she lands right into her partner Caden. And in the end, Io hits the over the moonsault and picks up the victory for her team. But then they are attacked by Shayna, Zoe, and Sonya Deville. I mean, what is that going to amount to? Three very, very talented women, fighters, right? They can do their thing in the ring, but it's like, is anything going to come out of this? Or is this just something for them to do? Now, they're going to be interviewed later, so let's move on. Rey and Zelina are ready for their match with Dom and Liv. And then a new alliance of Baszler, Starks, and Deville, they put the women's division on notice. But then the tag champs, the Unholy Union of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, let them know that as long as they hold the gold, they run the division, the women's division. And I'm going to bring this up. How many noticed the Creeds and Ivy Nile talking to Gable in the background during the interview with Deville, Starks, and Baszler? The wheels are spinning, and a possible alliance and new Alpha Academy is on the horizon. I mean, they are doing their thing, right? They are, putting that out there. I'm not the only one that noticed that, sure, but sometimes so much is going on screen, and you gotta look in the corner, look in the back, maybe look at something that might pop up, especially during the time when the Wyatt Six were on their way. But I think that's going to be great. Or they're going to have a feud with Otis and Tozawa and someone else, maybe. Kind of started off, but we'll see. And I think that the Creeds and even Ivy Nile, I think they would be good as heels. Especially, I see that in the Creeds especially. They have that intensity and they have that type of an attitude where it's just like they're no nonsense, right? And I could see that. They could be the second coming of the world's greatest tag team, Charlie Haas and and Shelton Benjamin. I can see that. Now, before I move on, there was a article or maybe like a thumbnail that said that Randy Orton gave Chad Gable some props and said that Kurt Angle, you're not the next Kurt Angle. You are you, and I agree. Yeah, people are singing and chanting, "You suck, you still suck," and all that stuff. But I think that he's going to definitely come into his own. There's going to be the comparison, sure. He's an Olympian, right? Has the same type of skill set as, Kurt Angle. So you can't help but compare him. But, I think it's fair that you kind of just, with him, focus on him. Not being the next Kurt Angle, but being the first, Chad Gable. Now, Gunther has his say. Power, dominance, and prestige is what Gunther's name brings to this sport. And he restored honor and prestige to this sport, and that is what is on the line at SummerSlam. He talked about coming to the WWE in 2019. He eventually ended up on NXT UK. You even hear Nigel McGuinness' voice saying, he's here. And I remember that. I didn't know who he was, Gunther. Who's this big guy? Who's this dude? He looks intimidating, and then he proved how dominant he was. 800 plus days, almost 900 days as the UK champion in NXT. And when he was there, he said he saw nothing but children living out their fantasies. He says WWE needed him, but he didn't need them. And I must say that Gunther is truly what was needed to return WWE to some of its past glory, especially in regards to the Intercontinental Championship. But now, it's main event time. And it is the mixed tag match. I mean, if you look at this, what was the first match? I think that match could have easily have been the main event, right? And that was Jey Uso versus Chad Gable. I think they booked this in reverse, I think. Now, it's Liv and Dom versus Rey and Zelina. And this match is what it is. Liv and Zelina have some heat between them, which I thought would have cooled off by now. And Dom needs to win, or else there is no reason to ever revisit this match between them again. But man, they do want to put Dom in awkward positions as he is leg tripped by Rey, and he falls face first into Liv's lower area down south, if you will. And he immediately scoots out of the ring, and Liv was smiling and laughing, and even told him that she liked that. I'm pretty sure she did. And I am not into this match. I mean, yeah, it's a hot story right now. Storyline that can lead anywhere. And even the crowd was chanting, "We want Mami." So people here in Ottawa want Ripley. And Dom in the end delivers a frog splash and finally beats his dad. Good. Of course, due to Liv, because Liv trips up Rey as he is on the top, turnbuckle trying to do what he's going to do to Rey. Probably a superplex or whatever. Liv Morgan, she throws a chair in there. So the referee is busy taking that chair and, tossing it out. Gives her enough time to go in there and stop Rey and put Rey in a position where he's, falls to the mat. And then in the end, Dom, hits the frog splash and finally beats his dad, like I said. And of course, due to Liv, and again, like I said, it's due to Liv, like I said. And then after they win and they get the victory, Dom in excitement hugs Liv. He kind of got carried away, but then he pulls away immediately, but Liv hops into his arms and they both fall back. Dom on top of Liv, and they look like they're about to kiss. And then we hear the music that excites us all, but it strikes fear in Dom and especially Liv Morgan. Yes, folks, I'm talking about the Eradicator, Rhea Ripley. She runs off Liv and confronts Dom, and as he goes to embrace her, she just goes around him, and she leaves the ring, and you see him shortly kind of going after her. So she's back. Is she cleared? Maybe not. She just wants to make an appearance. People were kind of complaining, social media and all that stuff, that they should have given him a little bit 5 more minutes. But I think that this is how it was booked. I think this is how it should have been. Because then it leaves us wanting more. Why are you going to want it solved right there and then? What, you want her to be talking to him, get on the mic and talk to Dom and stuff like that? This is how you move a story along. You don't just, it's like a 12 course meal or a 7-course meal. However, you start off with salad and breadsticks, and then you start off with, appetizers and all that stuff. You don't just get all that shit and put it on your table and you start eating. Like this, we're getting served in courses. Come on, people. Let's practice some patience, okay? Don't get too damn in a hurry, because this is going to be great. It's going to probably cap off at SummerSlam. And don't worry, Rhea Ripley, she's going to win her title back. That's why they have this title. I don't know if Liv is a transitional champion, but she did keep that title warm because it's going back to Mami, whether she likes it or not. And Dom, I don't know. Maybe he's going to pop. He's going to show up with a black eye next week. I don't know. She's going to beat the hell. Maybe all of them. Wouldn't that be funny if they made it to where all those guys, except for Damien, of course, but all those guys are going to end up with black eyes? And maybe she's going to give 2 black eyes to Carlito because of the fact of what the fuck is he doing here in my Judgment Day? That's what she's going to probably wonder. Why is he there? You know. But Raw was great. Again, another week of just amazing programming. Starting off with a good start last week. All wrestling was great that I watched. Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown. You know. Of course, Money in the Bank. So everything popped off. Everything was cooking. And then Raw was cooking itself. I mean, Triple H is not doing anything wrong, but he is really, really on fire. And I love what he's doing. I love what he's been doing. Has he misstepped here and there? Of course, but he's not perfect. But what would you rather have, folks? McMahon or Triple H? McMahon never cooked. You know what McMahon did? He always preheated, he always had microwavables, the same thing every week, and he would just cook that. Same thing. Triple H is coming out with some, 5-course meals and 5-star, he has some 5-star chefs working with him and stuff, and he's cooking up some good stuff. You know what I mean? Not like I said with McMahon. It's just microwavables. And you get sick of that shit week after week when you keep getting served that. Triple H is trying to serve you something different every week. And it's just like, that's just it. He's just cooking, like people say. Like I say that too. He's cooking. He's doing great. And this is a great way to end Raw. Bringing Rhea back. Like I said, is she cleared? We don't know. I mean, Punk wasn't cleared. Maybe a few more weeks and he's going to be ready. Probably ready for SummerSlam. It was also mentioned before I end the video that Drew McIntyre is going to be there next week to address the situation, to talk about his suspension and all that stuff. So we're probably going to see the match get made next week between him and Punk. Punk promised that he wasn't going to be there. But then again, it's CM Punk, right? We didn't think he was going to be there at Money in the Bank. We had a hunch. But who thought that he was going to be there? How do we know, right? But he was there. I felt that he was going to be there because he still has unfinished business. He took him out, beat him up, took his bracelet, his prized, cherished bracelet that has his AJ Lee and AJ Lee and what's his dog's name? Hey, Charlie. AJ Lee and his dog. I forgot his dog. His cute dog. Precious dog. I forgot his name momentarily. But, so of course he was going to come back. Like I said, Chad Gable and and the Creeds and Ivy Nile. That's something that's, making us think that's interesting. And they got Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler and Sonya Deville. Okay. Put something behind it. Be serious when you book them. You can have something out of that. This could be the next Damage Control, where they take control, right? Sonya Deville is an MMA fighter. Her background. Same thing with Shayna Baszler. They could do something with that. Make them, submission machines. Women that are going to be taking arms and taking limbs like Shayna Baszler always talks about, right? They got to be serious. They got to book them. Don't just introduce them this week and then they're gone for another month. There is enough room to start building them up too. There's a lot of things going on, but I think you can kind of you can kind of squeeze them in. There's a lot of talent in that trio. Out of all of them, I like Zoe. She's my favorite out of all three. I do like all of them. I think they all got talent. It's just the way they've been booked. There's not a waste of talent there. It's just that they got to be booked correctly and seriously. Make them a dominant threat. They already took out one of the top factions in the women's division, that being Damage Control. That's a start. Let's see what they do with them in the coming weeks. Maybe even after SummerSlam, that's when it's going to really start kicking in and they're going to really highlight them and let everybody see what they can do. We'll see. But anyway, that's my video. So for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And until next time, take care, and I will see you in my next video.